America is fighting a losing battle on its own turf, the war on poverty. In California alone, nearly 5 million people are considered poor.
To me, this is not just a sociological analysis that I do. To me, it's a moral outrage.
The fallout from poverty levels on the rise, while resources are being cut. Straight ahead on Equal Time.
From San Jose State University and KTEH, you're watching Equal Time, exploring new issues each week, giving equal time to competing points of view.
Hello from the campus of San Jose State University, and welcome to this edition of Equal Time. I'm your host, journalism professor Bob Rucker. Here in Silicon Valley and throughout California, people falling below the poverty line are likely to be those who once had a full-time job, but are now struggling to survive. The demand for government aid is great, but as Marianne Mendezona reports, the money is simply not there.
For more than 30 years, the Loaves and Fishes Family Kitchen has opened its doors to people in poverty. From children to seniors, everyone is welcome. Peter Clark goes to Loaves and Fishes every day.
I've been existing on food stamps since June of last year. That's $200 a month. That's it. No money. No getting on the bus. You know, talk about frugal living.
The hope and mission is to never turn anyone away. Loaves and Fishes has 3 locations spread across San Jose, where volunteers prepare and serve about 500 hearty meals each day. Much of the food comes from the food bank of Santa Clara County, which serves nearly 400,000 people a year. But for nonprofit organizations, the economic times are difficult. The city has cut the $50,000 a year that it was giving to Loaves and Fishes. Plus, county funding for the kitchen is down by 40%. This isn't the only agency starving for money. This year alone, 3 pantries and 1 homeless shelter have closed down in Santa Clara County. Loaves and Fishes volunteer manager, Mia White, is worried about the survival of the kitchen and the people it serves.
We're hopeful that we can still provide our services, but without us, we have a lot of families that just say that they wouldn't have dinner. And for some of the folks that come in, this is the only meal they have all day.
Peter Clark, who was once in the music industry, was diagnosed with shingles 5 years ago.
Being in this position is like totally unbelievable to me.
After a year in bed and with barely enough money for his medical bills, Clark tried to get back on his feet. A couple months later, he suffered a heart attack. Clark wasn't able to do any strenuous activities, and without money and a job, he went into depression. But this agency is giving him hope.
Come on, little brother.
This place has helped me out no end. It's got me through to the point where I'll have money coming in within a month and a half.
Without organizations like Loaves and Fishes, many won't know where to turn.
But we've had guests tell us, before I knew about you, I was digging in garbage cans, just going through dumpsters, looking for food, and it's just really unfortunate that anyone would have to live that way.
More than half the clients of the Food Bank of Santa Clara County in 2010 reported having to choose between paying for food and paying for utilities, while a third of them had to choose between food or medical care.
I do have this problem where I do have to have medicine for this. It's spasmodic dysphonia.
Joanne Reinecker met Clark at Loaves and Fishes. She says this free meal helps her save money for medicine, and she worries about it closing.
Well, I'd have to go back to the way I was living before, cooking for myself and spending, accordingly.
Medical problems also plagued Kevin Peters. He became clinically depressed when he had to find a new job after quitting to take care of his parents.
I got frustrated. I'd never had a time where I didn't work. I always had jobs. I always could get something. And I wasn't, I was applying for McDonald's jobs. I hired and fired people. Now I'm applying just for anything for McDonald's. You're too old. You're too experienced.
Peters is dealing with his mental depression now at the Envision shelter where he stays.
Spent about 60 days on the street, was eating lunch over at the Salvation Army, and the director there saw me, and I looked and smelled just like every other homeless person by this point, but he is experienced, and he saw that I wasn't going to last too long.
It's stories like Peter's, Reineker's, and Clark's that encourage sociologists to delve into the perpetual problem of poverty. Scott Myers-Lipton, an associate professor of sociology at SJSU, studies community change.
To me, this is not just a sociological analysis that I do. To me, it's a moral outrage that we have 20%, it's actually 19% of all U.S. children living in poverty. And I think it's important to always add, in the richest country in the world.
Rich country, rich Silicon Valley, but a poor system for dealing with poverty, according to Myers-Lipton.
When the wealthiest people needed money, we gave the wealthiest banks over $3 trillion in matters of weeks. That was given. But when the poorest Americans and the low-income Americans and when average Americans need help, where is the bailout for them?
When we come back, we'll show you what nonprofit organizations are doing to help those in need.
Poverty is a solvable problem.
We'll look at those who are battling the war on poverty and the people who have found their way because of them, when Equal Time returns. The poverty level in Santa Clara County is higher than what you might expect for a wealthy area. We continue our look at what people are doing to attack poverty. Here again is Marianne Mendezona.
Particularly to older adults.
Government cutbacks are ripping the hearts out of nonprofit organizations. The Silicon Valley Council of Nonprofits, representing dozens of community service groups, gathered this spring at the Board of Supervisors Children, Families, and Seniors meeting, ripping paper hearts they had brought each time a representative spoke about the government withdrawing its funding.
And we tear the heart as a demonstration.
In order to survive, groups that get government money are having to rely on more private donations than ever before. Agencies such as Sacred Heart Community Services in downtown San Jose, which also gets money from faith-based organizations and individual donations. The agency offers food. Customers can leave with a grocery bag containing everything from eggs to vegetables to canned goods. Sacred Heart provides clothes where clients can get anything from socks to dresses. And the nonprofit also helps people get jobs by providing a career center with computers and employment opportunities posted up on the wall.
You know, poverty is a solvable problem.
Pastor Scott Wagers offers another resource for the poor. His Community Homeless Alliance ministry has been helping people for more than 20 years.
God bless you, brother. God bless you. God bless you.
You know, as a society, what are our priorities? We have money for war. We have money for everything, it seems, especially when the dot-com boom was at its height. They had money for everything except for the homeless.
Wagers says the government has to do more to help the poor.
And there's a lot of people, they can't do anything anymore. They've been homeless so long that they can't take care of themselves. And if the government doesn't do it, they're going to die, and the blood's on all of our hands.
The damage is pretty cosmetic.
Miguel España has come up with creative solutions to help the poor.
Believe it or not, I went to different organizations, and they said, "What? You want to donate a car just like that?"
But it isn't just like that. España's efforts to donate cars to needy families is complicated. He owns a collision repair shop in San Jose, and each year he buys an insurance loss car, then repairs the damage. Once he knows it's in good condition, he gives the car away.
It has to be a need. Why they need this vehicle? I mean, most of the families, they cannot get from point A to point B.
España locates low-income families through nonprofit groups. Through San Jose's 3rd Street Community Center, España was introduced to Sylvia Mercado, a single mother who is struggling to stay afloat.
And then when I went with Miguel, and he said, "Oh, this is your car," and I said, "My car?" And he said, "Yeah, you win the car." And I said, "But how?"
Mercado, along with her 9-year-old daughter, Samantha, forced to spend nights on friends' couches, in shelters, and even on the street. She is now in a welfare-to-work program that requires her to have a job, go to school, and perform community service. And although the car has been beneficial for the Mercados, they still are struggling.
My daughter is happy because she said, "Oh, Mom, we have 2 cars." And I said, "Yeah, but we don't have a house. We don't have a place for living."
While transportation is an important piece of survival, work is another. 28% of all U.S. households have at least one member that is looking for a full-time job. Maria Marroquin is the director of the Day Worker Center of Mountain View, where they help connect workers with employers and empower workers with job skill training and education. Marroquin knows how difficult it is for many to find jobs.
I'm a former day labor myself. When I started with the Day Worker Center, was looking for my job to feed my family. So it was very difficult for us just to be on the street waiting for employment.
Marcos Leyva, who struggles with hard times, has found work through the Day Worker Center.
Little by little, I'm been getting employers. But at this time, it's a little hard because we are many people that we are waiting for a job.
Leyva used to be hired on the street before he found the Day Worker Center.
Sometimes on the street it's better, but it's not safety. It's not sure that the employer is going to pay at the end of the day.
People like Marroquin, who have taken it upon themselves to address the complex problem of poverty, are helping in isolated areas. But is there a long-term solution? Or is the war on poverty a lost cause?
When we come back, we'll sit down with a panel of experts in search of solutions. Stay with us.